Welcome back to another episode of the Booktroverts podcast. I'm Michaela.
I'm Meg.
Today we are continuing our Harry Potter series with Book 2, Chamber of Secrets. If you've never read the book, seen the movie, this will have spoilers, so just a full warning. And we will be going over what was kind of different between the books and the movies, things they left out, all that good stuff, same format that we did for Book 1. So let's kick it off with our ratings. Meg, what did you rate this book?
All right. In terms of rating, I think I put 5 overall for the entire series. Every single time I put 5. But I think realistically it's a little bit lower. I also could be saying this because it's not my favorite of the series, but I just think it sets up for other books, but in itself is kind of just meh. So probably more, the 3.5, 3.75 if we're getting specific is kind of what I would really say if I had to think about it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think. Like, if you look at my Goodreads, it's listed as a 5 because the whole series is a million stars to me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to rate them. They're a collective unit to me. They're not individual books. But if I had to critically rate this one book, 3.75. Every time I reread this one, I forget how short this one is. It feels shorter than the first book.
Yeah.
And how long it takes to get to the actual plot and action of the book.
There's a lot of setup, and I think as we go through, there's probably some stuff that really leads to future books that is mentioned. So I don't know if it's just to really throw in a bunch of stuff to prep us for the next 2, really, I would say, because 3 and 4 we start to kind of change what the dynamic is. 4 is really when it goes more of a mature setting than it is in the first 3. So I don't know if J.K. Rowling just decided, okay, I'm going to go this route and really give a huge ramp up book. But I mean, interesting to go from book 1 to this. I don't know.
Yeah. It was crazy. Like, on my Kindle, I was like, this book's only 18 chapters. That feels so short to me. I think it was like actually only 250 pages. But then I'm like, okay,
yeah,
this is technically a children's book. So it makes sense that it wouldn't be super long, but it's just every time I reread the earlier ones, I then am comparing it to the beast that books 4 through 7 are. And I'm just like, it's crazy that we go from this, where the writing feels so juvenile to me. The plot, I'm like, wow, it's not that in depth, this plot in this book. It's so short. To then, like, the crazy foreshadowing politics, war that comes in the later books. It's wild, the progression. I was trying to imagine this book in the style of the later books and like how crazy this would have been.
Even just the interactions, with Ginny in the book, with the diary, and just how they meet Tom Riddle at the end. I really think it would have been so much more, I don't want to say gruesome or anything, but I just don't think it would have been as light. She kept it very light for the fact that there was a literal monster going around the castle trying to kill. I mean, it was, I'm gonna kill, and then someone's just petrified. I mean, no one actually died, and I thought it was very lucky that didn't happen. Yeah. And I don't know if it was just to keep the book very childish in that sense of, for kids to read.
Yeah, I mean, kids are probably on the edge of their seat, like, what's gonna happen? Also, the pipes in the school have to be massive.
And how does no one know about these pipes? I mean, I know some of the teachers knew about it, but what do you know about the structure?
Yeah, it is crazy. So I think that is a good little segue into our first section. So we're going to talk about things that are different between the book and the movie. Of course, there's always going to be changes when you're adapting something. And we'll see as we go on with the books, more and more things are changed or left out. So let's start with the first kind of chunk of the book, which is chapters 1 through 5. This is Harry at his house during the summertime to when they get to Hogwarts. So I'll let you go first.
Yeah, so one of the big things, obviously, we know that this is the first time we're really getting to know Dobby in the sense of more detail of not really who his family is until the end. They kind of keep you guessing on where he's from, but He's there trying to warn Harry not to go back to Hogwarts because something bad's going to happen. And iconic part in the movie is just the cake falling onto Dursley's guests. And it actually didn't even happen in the book. It's just the cake's dropped on the ground. And I think that was such a good ad to make it more impactful that, you know, the family also hated him, and the fact that they're, oh no, that's our, you know, crazy nephew. We don't know what's wrong with him. We send him to get some help constantly. Like, I just think it added what we lose a lot of those stories with the Dursleys, because we don't get as much in the movies, obviously, with them. It's very quick interaction. So I think having this fall on the head was just a really good way to bring them back to they don't like each other.
Yeah. Oh, I love Dobby. And this is the first time we see him is in this book, which is,
yeah.
I love him.
Also, have to say, appreciate that the CGI got better into movie 2, because I don't know how he would have looked in the first one. Their budget was very low budget.
Low budget first movie. He looks great in this one.
Yeah, definitely did a good job. So. I'll take it. I thought this was interesting, and I forgot about this piece, but when the Weasleys come to save Harry from being locked up in the house, his stuff is actually in the cupboard locked up in the book. It's not just in the room. They make a very big thing about the fact that he's not allowed to do any magic, so he's going to be behind with his summer reading and all of that. And even just down to the fact that Fred and George have to go and try to sneak down and get it, which those two are obviously the jokesters in the family. So it was interesting that they left that out. I completely forgot about it. Every time I watch it, I forget that doesn't actually happen.
Yeah, because in the movie, he's moved to a bedroom upstairs, and all of his stuff is in that room with him. So they just have to like break the bars, and then they like throw everything in the car. I kind of wish they kept it where they had to like sneak in and run down the stairs and grab everything. I think that would have been more fun, more exhilarating. But
yeah. Agreed.
I get it. It's more scenes. They got more locations they got to use.
Yeah. I think, you know, we talked about it when we were discussing the first one, but it just brings back to the Weasleys were there, but they weren't super involved as much. So I think it would have brought in more of Fred and George's weirdness and goofiness that we do see in future movies, but it would have set the scene as you keep going that, you know, they have no problem causing chaos. It's just who they are.
I love them. Speaking of the Weasley brothers, I said I was going to keep an eagle eye out for if Percy is claimed by the family in movie 2, and he is. He is at the Burrow, at the breakfast table with them, and Molly asks Percy to grab the mail when the owl comes, and so he is there. He is being included, claimed as a brother of the Weasleys, but then again doesn't interact with them when he's at Hogwarts. We cut the entire storyline of him having a girlfriend.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Because we see him, they did keep in the scene when Harry and Ron use the Polyjuice potion and they get stopped by him, leading to the Slytherin dungeons. But again, Ron doesn't really acknowledge that that's his brother at school.
Nope.
So I don't know, maybe movie 3 is where the erasure really starts to happen, but he is living at their house in this movie.
He's still around, but just very minimal in terms of, being involved.
Yeah. And then another thing that is different with them getting to Hogwarts. When they take the flying car in the book, the car never really dips below the clouds because they're trying to stay hidden. In the movie, they create this entire scene where like they almost get hit by the train. They're driving on the tracks, very much not staying hidden. They're just in plain sight. And then there's the entire scene where then Harry's almost falling out of the car and Ron's having to grab him and like, is he gonna survive? None of that happens in the book. In the book, they just like fly above the clouds and they happen to land at the Whomping Willow.
Yeah.
The movie makes it way more dramatic.
I love the drama though. I was mad it wasn't in the book.
It's a great change. It would have been such a boring scene if they were just like going for a cruise above the clouds.
Yeah, it wouldn't have felt as thrilling and oh, we had to go take the car to get there because we, with our brains at that age, we did not think, let's just wait until mom and dad come back through the platform. We'd be able to see them or be able to apparate. But yeah, that was just well done on the director on that part. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that one was really good. Now there are things that were cut in this section. We are going to talk about that later in the episode. We're just going to go through changes right now. So the next little chunk is chapters 6 through 10, or when Ron gets the howler, to basically when Harry has his broken arm. So Meg, what you got?
All right, I had a few different things. So starting off with the howler specifically, in the book, it doesn't acknowledge Ginny getting into Gryffindor. It's very much just yelling at Ron for how dare he do that. His dad's facing an inquiry and all that. But the movie, they do try to bring in, oh yeah, by the way, Ginny is here because we have to kind of involve her somehow because she's part of this story. I mean, this one, as weird as it sounds, it's not centralized on her, but she is a main piece without actually being on the page as much. But I thought that was interesting that they completely swapped it. But I guess it's a way to keep bringing back the Weasleys in little mentions here and there. It's just have the howler go yell at her as well.
I love the howler. They did a great job animating that.
Oh, yeah. I love when it eats itself and just, well done.
Yeah.
Well done. Another part that was interesting is in the book, which I literally had to pause and say, okay, this definitely doesn't happen in the movie, that when Ron first says eat slugs to Malfoy, it's not done in a curse. It's actually just said. And then he does end up cursing him in the same way down the line. So I like how they merged it together in the movie, because why would you say it multiple times? It's just more, get it done with and everything. But I thought that was interesting that that whole piece happens. And in addition, Hermione doesn't even know what mudblood is in the book, but in the movie, they had her basically be aware of what that was. So also probably well done, because it shows she's also a genius and knows everything. But I think if they had to explain it more, I don't think it would have been as tense of a part in the movie.
Yeah, they probably were just honestly trying to cut like a conversation, extra lines from the scripts. They're like, we'll just have her know what that means. It plays into her character, like she would have studied up on everything wizarding. So I think the change is fine. Also, just going back to like, the book is so short. The book I think is literally 250 pages, yet the movie is still almost 3 hours.
Yeah,
the movie's almost as long as the read time for this book. It's crazy to me.
I know.
We'll get into it later when we talk about like movie versus book overall thoughts. But as I was watching, I was like, geez, this movie is long for a very short book.
I think I fell asleep and had to break it up again, because it was just one of those, okay, I don't think it needed to be this long. Yeah, but, they did what they did, I guess.
They had to cut things where they have.
Yeah.
Just, condense things where they could.
Last thing that I had for this part was there wasn't a huge competition for the snitch in the book. And I don't want to say downplayed the Quidditch game in this sense, but I think they did in the book. The movie, I like it. It was a little more intense. I think this speaks to what you literally just said about the movie being long, is they added a lot more to certain things that do give you that competition between Malfoy and Harry, because there's a lot of parts where they completely remove that from their storyline. So I think that helped it a bit, because if not, it would have removed again what Malfoy did in the movies, which was very minimal, like we said in the first time.
Yeah, like that whole part where they go like under the stands. I love that part in the movie.
So me too.
I'm glad that they added that in, because that's not in the book. It's like he just sees it over his shoulder and he just grabs it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I had one that was more just kind of like a funny little change, is in the book when they go to herbology class and they're like learning about the mandrakes. They're fighting over the earmuffs because no one wants to get the pink ones. And I just wish they would have kept that in, because I think that just would have been like a funny little comedy moment. In this, it's just all, they're wearing standard brown, nothing crazy. I just think that would have been funny. But then also in the movie, they have McGonagall be the one that tells them about the Chamber of Secrets. when they're asking for like the history of it, she gives them kind of the background of the 4 founders and how this had been opened, but you know, they've searched and no one can find like proof of a chamber. But in the book, it's actually Professor Binns who tells them this, and I just think that was a cut or a change because they didn't want to have to introduce another character, because like he literally only serves this one purpose. I don't think he comes up in any of the other books or like major plot points, so
No.
it makes sense to just have it be a professor that we're already familiar with instead of introducing someone new for one scene.
Yeah, I actually had no problem with it being McGonagall. I kind of liked it. It made it nicer in that sense of keep the main teachers, you know?
Yeah, it just gives her another scene, another interaction with the kids, because she is, yeah, like one of the main professors that we get to know. So I'm fine with that too. All right, moving right along, we're going to chapters 11 through 15. This is the dueling club that Lockhart sets up to when they meet Aragog, the spiders. So, Meg, what do you got?
Yeah, so I guess going on the same theme of ghosts. So Peeves obviously was not in this again, but he's the one that actually finds Harry near Justin and nearly headless Nick when they are petrified. And I believe in the movie it's Filch, because it seemed as if Filch was very much in this since his cat was petrified. It's all of a sudden they gave him a huge role if he's going to go and find Harry wherever he can. But I was just, again, so bummed that Peeves wasn't in it, because I think it just worked out so much better. He really, in the book, started joking more about Harry of, you know, he's the one who's trying to kill everyone and all of this.
He
and
makes that song.
Yeah, I know. Again, another song. It's just I think that would have been cool if they added that. And then another thing to go in the sense of the petrification, all the ghosts and everything in the book, when they find the diary in Myrtle's bathroom, we'll call it, that Harry is the one that actually says to her, it wouldn't hurt you if it went through you because you're a ghost and you're already dead. But in the movie, they switched it to Ron, and I think it just adds to his weirdness character. I don't know if it's just to give him more lines, but it felt more fitting for him to actually say. Is that mean?
No, I think it's a good change because, yeah, it's more in line like of his personality. I think they're just trying to make Harry like the stand-up guy. He doesn't speak bad about people. He doesn't follow the rules, but he's so brave that it's more of like a Ron line. So
Yeah, agreed.
yeah, I think it works.
Yeah, I didn't even question it, that it wouldn't have been him saying it. I feel like all I'm talking about is pretty much that bathroom, but I guess it becomes a really pretty important part of the whole entire story. But, you know, this book introduces the Polyjuice Potion, which is the first time that Hermione's the one asking to break the rules, because mostly it's the guys who are just breaking them and she's going along because she's, you know, wants to pretty much make sure that they don't get in too much trouble. But this is the first time she really steps up and goes, okay, we are going to need to steal a bunch of things. We're going to need to do it this, and it's going to take a month and all of that. And, you know, in addition to the fact that the whole entire stealing of the items isn't really part of the movie. They kind of just skip that part. It's a really big part of the book. The Polyjuice Potion doesn't change the person's voice in the movies. In the book, it changes their voice as well. So I think Harry specifically says that they sound like Crabbe and Goyle.
Yeah, I always catch that in the movie because I'm like, wouldn't Draco notice that their voice sounds different? So I don't know if like they're, because it's also kind of a plot hole, because later on, when like later, I think it's book 7, when they have to turn into Bellatrix to get into Gringotts. In the movie, it's Bellatrix's voice.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that.
So it's a plot hole. I think, though, again, these were very much for children, and maybe they thought kids would be confused if they're hearing Crabbe and Goyle's face. They're not fully understanding that they've transitioned into them. So it's maybe they're like, if we give them Harry's voice, they'll understand like this is Harry pretending to be Crabbe and Goyle.
Yeah, but then, okay, to add to this a bit more, I forget which one it is because I'm blanking on which book it happens. But when they have 7 of them turn into Harry with Polyjuice potion, it is not Harry's voice; it's still theirs.
Yeah, it's
Because
so,
Fleur
so
talks
maybe,
in her voice. So I don't know if they just keep switching it
maybe
up.
they're doing a more intense version of Polyjuice when they turn into, I don't know, or
Maybe.
I have no clue, but yeah, it is kind of. I'm like, wouldn't Draco realize like this sounds like Harry Potter?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe different directors, different choices. I think they had a variety of directors through the entire series of the books. I mean, the movies. I don't think it was the same at all.
So the first 2 is the same guy. Then there's someone different for movie 3.
Yeah.
And then I think there's someone different for movie 4. And then I think 5 through 7 is the same.
Okay. I don't know. Plot hole, probably.
We'll have to keep an eye on this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do always catch up. I'm like, wouldn't he notice the voice is different?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would. Be like, you're not my friend. What voice do you have? Are you sick? What's going on?
You sound just like them.
Yeah.
The one thing I caught in this section was the duel scene is actually a little bit different. So, and this leads into the Polyjuice potion. In the book, they have everyone break off into pairs and practice the dueling amongst themselves, and then at the end they have Harry and Malfoy do like the public demonstration. But during that scene in the book, Hermione is actually dueling the person that she ends up turning into. Hermione ends up in a headlock, but that's how she ends up getting the hair for the Polyjuice potion, because it gets on her robe during the duel. Obviously in the movie they cut pretty much all of that. It's just Lockhart and Snape, and then Harry and Malfoy. We learn Harry's a parcel tongue, and then it switches right to like Ron and Hermione confronting him. So we miss seeing everyone practice.
I understand that they probably did not have the time, especially because they extended a lot of the other scenes that I think that would have just been a whole nother one they could have added. But it really is a bummer because it's the first time that we see them using different spells than just what they were, I guess, you see in the book, not in the book scenes, the class scenes. This is stuff that we don't necessarily hear about but get told during the dueling. And then it also kind of helps when they start going into the 5th one and they're doing the dueling and the, in the room requirement and everything. I just think it adds a little bit more to, oh, they actually do this down the line, and they totally lose that in the book, in the movie rather.
It would have been cool too to see Hermione kind of fighting, because right now all we see is her intelligence. We don't see any like physical capabilities from her to be able to kind of hold her own against the dark wizards. So I think that would have been cool to set that, but yeah, it honestly probably was just too much to choreograph with all those extras.
Probably. I mean, how many kids are you gonna have in there fighting, and none of them are gonna behave?
Yeah, so that's honestly the probably like just keep it as the main points.
Keep them calm.
All right, and now we are going to cruise right into the last little section, so chapters 16 to 18. This is visiting Hermione in the hospital ward, and then to the end of the book. So
yeah,
I actually didn't have anything for changes in this section, so this is all you.
All right. I don't have too many, so it'll go pretty quick. But the first thing is after Hermione is petrified, we get this scene in the movie where Harry and Ron are hanging out with her and really just hanging out with her, and feel bad that they weren't able to, prevent her from getting petrified. But in the book, they don't allow anyone to actually join or visit. They're completely off limits pretty much. They don't let anyone in there. So it's interesting that that's in there, because obviously we find out that Harry finds the note in her hand, which in the movie it's just so easily to grab, but in the book they had to kind of try to rip her hand apart to grab it. I don't know what made them choose that, but I mean, it probably cut out a couple scenes as well from the book doing it that way. So, party to them.
Probably just trying to like reinstate the friendship between them. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, they were allowed and grabbed by the teachers to go see her immediately.
Exactly.
Like, people are well aware that they are a trio. I think that's probably what they were trying to get across. But yeah, in the book, it's like they've been visiting her for a while before they find that note.
Yeah. It's not an immediate, oh, there's something in her hand. Yeah. And the other thing that I had was at the end of the book, Lockhart tries to obviously remove the memory for for Ron and Harry, and it's so funny because not only does he create an explosion of all the rocks being destroyed, but in the book we don't find out about him losing his memory until after Ginny is saved. But in the in the movie, they make him kind of a complete ditz, and you get to see it, and it's just so good. I go, that was probably the best ad they could have done, is in that moment.
Yeah. Add some lightheartedness. Poor Ron gets stuck with him too, trying to get out of the rubble. You know he's no help because he doesn't know what's going on.
No, and then Ron decides just to hit him over the head with a rock, and it's just, all right, you're gonna go back to bed, bud, because I can't stand you.
Yeah. Also, I feel like in the book, it's more apparent that the students, specifically Ron and Harry and the professors, really do not like Lockhart. In the movie, there's a little bit of it, but there's just more in the book where they're just like, Harry's so over him. He's like, get this guy away from me. Ron hates him. Like, and they just see right through him. And I don't know. I love it. Like, you can tell the professors know he's like a crock of shit too. In the book, they're like, we know you can't do anything. And like, yeah, you go fight him. Sure, go ahead. It's just crazy.
I know. I loved when McGonagall goes, oh, you were just telling us last night that you could do this, so why don't you do it? We'll leave it in your hands.
Yeah.
Nice one. Good job.
Like, they knew. I'm like, how did he get hired for this position?
I don't know.
Snape hates him in the book.
Oh, it's so, I see things online all the time that say, oh yeah, Dumbledore had a reason for every one of the others. There was something there. But Lockhart, he just looked and goes, this will be a good time. Let's have some weirdness into this into the school.
Because he does nothing. And then it's like the teachers just let him go down. Like, no, we actually need to take care of this snake. He's not going to be able to do it. Like, I don't know if they were just trying to kill him off, what they were trying to do. But like, you were not thinking about the well-being of these students, letting him go. No one went with him.
No, they did not care. They're like, all right, you know what? If he doesn't come back, then I guess we'll handle it at that point. It's
none of them got in trouble that he ended up going down there with students. Like, no one went to check on him. Nothing.
There were no fucks given in that situation. Yeah. Oh my God.
He's a funny character.
One thing I had to know before we start going into what was left out of the movie that happened in the book, you mentioned about Ron hating Lockhart, and I think this is a two-part. One, Lockhart is an idiot and is just, he doesn't show that he has any skills or anything, and the students really do see that. But the other part is, I had talked to someone when I first read the series, and they said this book and movie is when you see Ron and Hermione's love interest start to grow. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of it is he's so mad that Hermione loves Lockhart.
Has a crush on him.
And he's just, no, how dare you? It's, you're not supposed to like him and all of that. So I think it also adds a little bit more that you don't see necessarily unless you've read it or watched a few times.
Yeah, like even when they go visit her in the hospital, like Ron's so upset. Hermione, like he's very upset.
Very upset.
I don't know. That whole thing, it fluctuates so much through the books and the movies where it's like sometimes they're leaning into it, sometimes I feel like they're not. And so, I don't know. I feel like they could have addressed that whole situation better, but
yeah, agreed.
It's not a romance book.
No, they did have they did not. I can't speak. They definitely did not do the love interest justice in the series when it comes to the movies, because the books I think just do a better job of, I'm not saying there needs to be a love interest in this series because I think it was fine if they didn't, but the ones that are there, the movies do it so poorly in my opinion. Yeah, it just wasn't like a main plot, which I get, and it gives something to the book readers that they have but the movie watchers don't. Exactly.
Okay, so now let's move into things that they left out of the movie. If you listen to book one, there was even a couple things in there. There's a couple things in this one. And this list will just continue to grow as we move through this series. So again, we're going to do the same kind of chapter breakout. So chapter 1 through 5, from the beginning of the book to getting to Hogwarts. And you have a few.
Yeah, so the first one I'm so upset about is the gnomes that are at the Weasleys. I mean, come on. At the Burrow would have been so fun. Oh.
See them throwing them around.
Yeah, and again, there were certain scenes that probably did not need to be elongated or added to the movie this would have been one that would have been perfect, in my opinion.
Just to see like what the wizards deal with and their like how different their home life is.
Yeah, because to Harry, it's such a wonder. And it's the first time
And
he's
they're
really getting
so
embedded.
Embarrassed.
Yeah. Oh man, he's just so excited to throw them. I think even the ghoul in the attic they don't mention. It's just, there's so much more about the burrow that they could have given.
Expanded on.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it would have just hit home to the difference of the two worlds, because you get some of that, but you don't get as much in the movies.
Yeah.
The next part is when they go to Diagon Alley. Harry obviously accidentally ends up into Nocturne Alley. And in the movie, we only get the scene of he's leaving one of the stores and he's getting crowded by a bunch of people, and then Hagrid finds him. There is a whole part with Malfoy and his dad that happens in Borgin and Burke's, and we don't get any of that. And that is such an important piece. I mean, one, we find out a lot of the things that Malfoy's family is hiding at their house, and there's just so much more that Harry realizes, oh yeah, they're definitely a bad family. I don't want to associate with them at all, even though I already hate him. But so many things, and I know you had a piece on this as well, that happens down the line.
So, key piece, I feel like if they had to go back now, knowing how the series ends, they would add this back in, because yeah, Harry lands at Nocturne Alley. He's trying to get out of the store. He sees Lucius and Draco walk in, so he hides. He hides in a cabinet, which actually ends up being the vanishing cabinet that comes into play in book 6 when Draco is planning the attack on Hogwarts. So it is like a key artifact. Such good foreshadowing, let me just say. And I really feel like they would have kept that in, because then it makes sense why that comes back and why people know this thing exists in Borgin and Burke's. Also, like you said, we missed the entire conversation with Lucius talking to the shop owner about all the dark artifacts that he has at his house, and how he's trying to get rid of some things because he heard the ministry is doing raids and he doesn't want to be caught with them. In the book, it like plants the seed of like, oh, this dark artifact probably from Lucius. Where in the movie, you kind of quickly jump with Harry all of a sudden accusing him and being like, oh, you threw it in the cauldron when you ran into Ginny at the bookstore. But
yeah,
you're missing a key piece of like why I think Harry starts to think that path and connect it to the dad and not to Draco. So
yeah,
I feel like if they had to redo it, they would keep that in. I'm hoping the TV show puts that back in.
I hope so too. That's a very important part that I think should have been in it.
Yeah. Also, just another sad thing that we miss in Diagon Alley. Like the whole point, the reason why they go that day is because Hermione sends them a letter like, I'm going to be there, let's meet up. So they're like purposely going to meet up with Hermione. They meet Hermione's parents. They all go to like lunch together. So we don't get to meet Hermione's parents, which I wish we could meet the dentist. And we also miss out of the scene where Harry and the Weasleys go to Gringotts together, and he goes with them to their vault, and he sees that they only have like a couple coins in there, and he's feeling really guilty of like, I have mounds of money in mine and they can barely have anything. I just feel like it kind of sets the tone of the differences between their status and how Harry, even though he has more than them, he feels so guilty and he wants to do stuff for them. And then it would make more sense why then when Lockhart offers to give him all the books for free, like we missed the part where he gives the books to Ginny.
Yeah, and I was going to say another point to this too is just the differences of Harry's wealth versus where the Weasleys are. It even is a little foreshadowing into the 7th book when they're looking for the Horcruxes, and Ron is super upset and ends up leaving, but when he comes back and goes to attack and kill the Horcrux, they have the images of Hermione and Harry together. And I think part of it is well, why would you want to be with me? I'm not the chosen one. I don't have this wealth and finance. Like there's nothing there for me compared to where Harry is. But Hermione has never seen Harry other than just a close friend. Like they're more siblings to me. So I think even, and I might be stretching this because it wasn't as much of a foreshadowing as it is with the Malfoys and Nocturne, but I think it is another part of just that. If you think about what happens down the line of Ron's insecurities and, you know, with Hermione, it's just, it could be brought back to so many points in the series.
Yeah, even later when he joins the Quidditch team and he's not succeeding like Harry does. Like I think all these little things, yeah, add up to that point where he kind of breaks at the end and he's like, you know what? Like, I'm just always going to be known as your friend. I'm not bringing much to the table. And I think also it's like just like a cool juxtaposition because like Harry had no clue he had all this money. He grew up very similar to the Weasleys. So then it's like having to deal with like, I actually have all this like fame and fortune. I don't know what to do with it. I still feel like these people, but like other people view me this way. So like, I think it's also an internal struggle for him. But yeah, just extra stuff. I love being in Diagon Alley. So I would have liked the extra content, but that's fine.
Yeah, I would have liked a lot more being in the store because I don't think. Do we get only a little bit of that store when in 6 is when they're looking at the Vanishing Cabinet and we're kind of just seeing it through the windows? Like, we're not in it as much as we are in the books.
No, I mean, and we really only are in it. I mean, we go in with like Draco.
Yeah.
But it's very quick. Also, I always get confused when I'm reading it and also watching the movie. Like, he says diagonally.
Yeah.
How does that lead to Nocturne Alley? But then you learn later in the books like how the flute actually works and like you're passing grates and you jump out on the one you want. Where in the movie it makes it seem like it's like an instant, like wherever you say is where you land. So again, we're missing some of that context of like how he ends up in Nocturne Alley, which is like nowhere near the name that he said.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna prefer apparating somewhere instead of flute powder. I have to figure out which gate I gotta go to. How fast is this going? Because in the book, it makes it seem as if he's flying by gates.
Yeah, it takes a while.
I'd end up being somewhere completely different in a different country because I would completely forget and miss my gate.
Yeah, and he's like dizzy when he gets out. Yeah. Okay, no.
Not my option.
No. Okay, moving into the next little block, chapter 6 through 10, the Howler to Harry's broken arm. What do you got?
So in this part, we have one of the times that Filch is mad at Harry and brings him into his office, and is going to write him up for detention or whatever. And then Peeves ends up saving Harry from getting detention. But while Harry's waiting there, he finds out that Filch is a squib. And this is the first time that we hear about this term. We obviously don't know what it is. I think in Harry's mind and also in ours, because it's the only perspective we get, is everyone in the wizarding world has powers. But there actually are people who are in the wizarding world but are kind of like muggles, where they don't have the powers. And it just adds more to Filch being that grumpy, miserable person stuck at the school with all the children. I don't know why he's there. He does not seem to like kids. But it's just a part that they didn't add that I always said, you know what? I think if they were to have Filch in there, might as well really give out what he is compared to just have this miserable person with his cat in the corner. I don't know.
Yeah, it definitely would have added and made you understand why he is the way he is. Because yeah, I think he hates kids, and I think he's also so jealous that they all have powers because they get to be at school. Like we don't get to see anything about the quick spell course that he's taking. Nothing.
And I think to your point, I know you said this in the first one that we talked about, I would have rather had Peeves than Filch. And I think this is another part that it was left out. Might as well have just left him out entirely because I think this just added more to his character down the line that we could have just been without and had a ghost who caused chaos.
Fill it in. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He's not my favorite.
Yeah. Yep. And another dead person that is left out is Nearly Headless Nick. And one of the pieces that's actually left out is his death day party. He invites Harry, Ron, and Hermione to this. It's on Halloween nights. They're not able to even participate in the festivities. They have to go and basically hang out with a bunch of ghosts. And the food, if I can call it that, is pretty much extremely old, moldy things. That way they can barely taste it. I don't even think ghosts could eat. I guess that's the whole purpose of let me try to eat something. But I am glad they left that out. Just going to say it now. I don't think I would have wanted to see that scene. It would have been fun for a few minutes, but I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
And he's upset because he didn't get into the headless hunt, like all that stuff. And he needs to bring Harry to his party to like have him talk him up to these people. Yeah, it's like a whole thing. Also, that's when they get caught is coming back from that.
Yeah.
And then they have to like cover like, oh, we were leaving to get food. And they're like, I heard you don't eat much at a ghost party, basically. And yeah, it's weird because like they have nearly headless Nick in the movie. So it's like, you could have just added like a 2-second scene of that, but you know, guess you gotta make cuts where you gotta make cuts.
Yep.
Another thing that is cut, which I think just adds to Lockhart's character. I mean, they do a good job in the movie making you understand that he is extremely narcissistic, but in the books he makes Harry act out scenes from his books in class. Like that is his teaching method, is just having, and it's
I even
always
forgot
Harry.
about it.
And it just gives into that dynamic that you see more of in the book of like Lockhart thinks Harry's trying to be this celebrity and Harry wants nothing to do with it. And Lockhart like can't grasp that someone wouldn't want the spotlight. And this is another thing, like he's trying to force Harry into the spotlight in class and he's like, I don't want to act out your books.
It is so funny because I mean, we don't like Lockhart in the movie, but in the book, you just really can't stand him because it's just so many of these little things that, you know, knowing Harry's character is just not involved in this at all and does not care. And I also think too, it gives a lot more ammunition for Snape and Malfoy to hate Harry in this book. It's so crucial on how much they can't stand him because Lockhart tries to say, oh, we're the famous people. You're nothing over there.
He tries to make like they're like showboating and Harry's like, actually, I want nothing to do with this. And no one seems to grasp that. Harry's like, no, I actually hate this. I don't want to, like, I didn't choose this.
No, it's so good. And
Lockhart
in
really
general.
He commits to his bit. He's like, yeah, I did all these things. He is committed to the end.
Oh, you know, played a good character, I guess. It brought, if he wasn't involved in this, I don't know how this book would have been. I'm going to say that. I sound really mean saying that, but I think as much as I hate him, he was a really good add to it because...
Oh, yeah, he's the comedic relief because you're just like, this guy, you're just like, you're laughing at him, not with him.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. What else can he do?
Yeah. Moving into the next section, chapters 11 through 15, the infamous duel with Lockhart.
Yeah.
And all the spiders. I know you noted the Valentine's Day letters. Also, Lockhart goes out of his way to host a Valentine's Day party because he just wants all the admiration.
I can't stop laughing because it literally is just the stupidest things for him to look good. And, you know, with his pearly white teeth and his, you know, he won the best smile award. He did win
Witch Weekly's best smile award. He says it like 10 times.
10 times. In the movie, they try to have him smile, and I go, okay, there was nothing great about this. They could have had, you know, that little obnoxious twinkle that they do sometimes to over-exaggerate. It would have been really funny if they did that. But, I mean, oh, man. Oh, my God. I just love the letters. I love the little cherubs running around and shooting at people.
He's nuts. He's absolutely nuts. He just wants everyone to know that he's so admired.
So good. In this part, too, we miss out on Ginny's letter to Harry, and I feel so bad because it just adds another layer to, you know, her crush. Yep. Oh,
yeah,
man.
You don't really pick up on her having a crush on him.
Okay.
The only time is when Ron says at the Burrow, Ginny's been talking about you all summer.
Yeah.
But other than that, like that's why like the Ginny-Harry relationship, I feel like to movie watchers comes out of nowhere because this has been laying the foundation for it since book 1.
Yeah.
But it's not really highlighted in the movies.
Did I send you the TikTok that it was like, oh, one of the things that was, you know, removed from a movie that was terrible choice? Because Ginny's personality. She's so fucking boring.
She's so boring.
And I feel so bad because she has such a cool attitude and vibe of her. We learned so much more about her in the books. The later books specifically, and it's just completely left out. It's just, and then they randomly kiss at the end. What happened? You missed all of the build-up here.
But yeah, we get more between like the Cho-Harry relationship in the movies than the Ginny one. Yeah, I completely agree. Like, oh my God, she's just there. She's just kind of like a background character.
Yeah. Again,
pops up when they need her.
the Weasleys are just
And like
there.
you said, like this story, she's like not a main character, but she is at the same time. And it's like,
yeah.
she's barely in the movie.
Yeah. They show her the one time where they're panicking of, oh, you know, the diary was stolen and her eyes just kind of look shifty. I go, that was it?
Yeah.
That was
We
the
missed
only
whole
sign.
part where like she tries to almost confess to them.
Yeah.
That whole thing.
Yeah. Oh, man. Nope. So uncool. But the one other thing I had in terms of the duel, Harry does a swelling spell on Malfoy, and I just would have loved to have seen this happen. Can you imagine like actually getting something from it? Oh, it just would have been perfect.
Yeah, because in the movie it makes it seem like Malfoy like kicks Harry's ass.
Yeah, exactly.
But
and
Harry
Harry has
gives
no
a
idea.
little bit back in
Yeah.
the book.
Yeah. I don't know. Would have loved to have a little more to the dueling piece.
I would love to have more of just Malfoy interactions,
Mm-hmm.
but no, they're cutting him from us.
I know.
So annoying. And then right to the end, the last 3 chapters, I should say.
Yeah.
What do you have? I had nothing for this one.
Yeah. The only thing
I
we
felt like
had,
everything was kind of kept in.
yeah, the only thing that was missing was really once we are out of the Chamber of Secrets and they're back in Dumbledore's office, we basically just jump right to Harry talking to Dumbledore. Ron, gets told, can you write a letter so we can get Hagrid back? We lose all of the conversation with Arthur Weasley and going off to Ginny about, don't trust things that can think for itself. And I think that's another part that also is huge for any of the pieces that they interact with down the line. I mean, the Marauders map can kind of show you things, not that it can think for itself, but it has a lot of things, and I mean that becomes important in the third one. And it's just, I don't know, I mean I don't really mind that it's gone. It's just really interesting that they completely left out again that piece. He's just,
Yeah. And Arthur and Molly aren't even at the school in the movie, right?
no they're not there. They're literally in the beginning, and that's it.
In the book, they're at Hogwarts when Ginny is rescued from the chamber. And
Yeah.
that's why they had this conversation. But yeah, they're not even at the school. Are they just going to see her at the end of the year?
Yeah, I think it was all right. Well, I guess our kid's fine. They figured it out.
Yeah. And then like the funny line at the end where Dumbledore's like, and as a reward, exams are canceled. And you see Hermione like, oh no.
Yeah.
But like, because we missed the part where Ron and Harry are talking so much about like they're studying for exams during that. I was like, Hermione is petrified for a long time. Like
Way longer.
She's been, I think like a month or something. And they're like, she's going to be so worried that like she hasn't studied for the exams. Like it seems like Hermione's only petrified for like a day or two in the movie, but it's actually like she's gone for a decent amount of time. Hence why they have to figure it all out without her.
Yeah, I mean, look at even just how many people were petrified, and it was, some was petrified, and then it was a few months of quiet, and then it happened again, and then it was quiet.
Yeah, like some people miss like the entire year.
Yeah, I mean, was it Colin Creevey pretty much was gone the entire
Right in the
year?
beginning.
Which, again, he was a character that they completely just erased.
Oh my god, yeah. In the book,
I'm fine
he's,
with
like,
it.
Following Harry. Yeah, he gets annoying in the book. He just
I'm
follows
fine.
him around
Yeah.
constantly. But yeah, I always think about that. Like, is he going to repeat the first year because he barely did it?
Patrick was asking that too. He goes, there
Or is
are
he
people
going
who
to
literally
use
miss
it?
the whole year. What are they doing? They just passed? Oh, no big deal.
No exams.
Yeah, no exams. Who cares?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
So now that you've read this one, watched it more than a few times,
Yeah.
which one do you prefer?
It's funny. I'm conflicted because the movie does give you a little bit more action than the book does. I mean, the book's super short, so it goes by quick, but I don't like the story too much. So I think the movie does a little bit better justice for me just because we get a little more, drama in it when the book just feels a little flat at times. And
Yeah.
it's okay. Let me get to the next one because this is when I start to really love the series more. It's.
Yeah, I agree. This is my least favorite one out of all 7.
Yeah.
And I think that just happens like the sophomore slump. It's really hard to like figure out where the plot's going. It's just, it feels, I don't know, like they were trying to make it action packed, but it's really hard in the beginning of the series to like figure out how this is important. But And then when you get to book 7, you're like, oh my God, of course it's all going to come back. But it takes a long time to like appreciate the events of this book.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. I know in the last episode I was like, this is probably the last one I'm going to say that I like the movie more. But I do like the movie more after reading it because there's not a lot of details in the book.
Right.
Like things are just happening and it feels like it moves too quick almost. Again, recognizing that it was written for children at the time. So, you know, it's not going to be a super long book. So I do understand that. But the movie, even though it is so long, it gives you more detail into what's going on. Like I feel like I have a better grasp of the story from the movie than from the book, even though there are these things that are cut out. Just like what's going on, like atmosphere wise, I feel like the movie fills in a lot of gaps.
Yeah, as a series, the book is better because of everything that you get, the small pieces that you get for the whole, you know, the whole story and everything. But yeah, just as if you're standalone watching it, the movie honestly just gives you a little bit more. Because the book, it's kind of, it's quick. Like you said, this
Really
one
quick.
is really important for future things. I mean, the Horcrux literally is the whole crucial piece of the entire series. So it's important and needed, but it just, the time you're just kind of, was this to get us to the next one?
Yeah. But I mean, you need it. You have to go through this book for the series because, like you said, the Horcrux is the entire premise of the later books. And this is key pieces of finding out tools to defeat Horcruxes that they use at the end. The Sword of Gryffindor, the Basilisk Venom, like it all Venom. I said Venom. Venom. Getting my series confused.
2 books together.
Combining things.
Yep.
It all comes back at the end.
Yeah.
So if you skip this, you would be like, I have no clue where they're getting that connection from. Also, like they revisit the chamber.
Mm-hmm.
So like we need to know how they learned how to get there, all that.
Yeah, it's important for the rest of it, but as a standalone, it's okay. Let's get through. It's short for a reason. It's just there. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Completely agree.
Yep.
Was there any other tidbits you wanted to add?
Okay, we mentioned it in the first time, and we were talking about the clothing, and I literally had to make a note, similar to how you were doing with the Weasleys and specifically Percy. I am somehow now the clothing person, and Harry and Ron actually wear normal clothes when they go to meet Aragog. It's not the robes and everything. I was just, wait, what made them choose this? So it seems, I don't know if they're just slowly stopping the specific attire, but they do change it.
Yeah. Also, did you notice Arthur Weasley's hat that he wears throughout the couple scenes we see him in?
Isn't
it's
it
like
kind of
pointy little like flimsy
small?
What is with these stupid ass hats?
I don't know. I guess I don't know. At least those were smaller.
But the students scrapped the hats.
Yeah, completely removed it.
They're
nope,
scrapped.
We don't do it.
Arthur Weasley's the only one still rocking a hat in this one.
He's got his own vibe. He's just chilling. Yeah. Another thing that we find out as we go into more of the, the later books is Harry's go-to spell, Expelliarmus, is the one that Snape uses first in dueling. And I think that he kind of just snags this. I don't think there's any specific reason, but it becomes his go-to. It just all of a sudden is his thing that he uses. And I go, oh, the first time he gets it is obviously when Snape uses it. And it's so interesting they put that in. Also,
speaking of spells, I don't remember if it's in the book, but I caught it in the movie. When Harry gives the diary to Dobby and he's like, open it, and there's a sock inside. And Lucius is pissed. He's like, you lost me my servant. He starts to do the Avada Kedavra spell. He says Avada, and then he gets knocked back by Dobby. It is kind of the first time that we get introduced to that spell or part of it in the books, because I don't think they've learned about the killing curse yet. That doesn't come until they meet Mad-Eye Moody. But just an interesting little tidbit there. Like, you see the first crack of his Death Eater roots. Yeah. And I just can't remember if it's in the book or not.
I don't think it is in the book, because that is a huge part of the movie of why, Dobby ends up pretty much saving Harry again.
Yeah, I don't think because Harry's like, promise me you won't save me again, but like I don't think he realizes that like he was almost getting the death spell on him.
Yeah, only Dobby realized it at that moment. So yeah, and obviously they're away from Dumbledore, so that was, not that he could come jumping in. But yeah, it's interesting that we hear it, but if you hadn't known about it from the fourth or further, it would have just sounded as if it was some, crazy
like
curse that they were getting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very
Just the
interesting.
beginning part.
Yep. Yeah. A couple other things was Myrtle is obsessed with Harry, and they make that such a thing in the movies. I mean,
she's flirting with him constantly. Even when he goes to take the bath in book 4.
In book 4, yeah, it's like, oh, you can share my
bubbles.
space of bubbles. It's
yeah. Calm down.
Calm down. Yeah. It's so weird because in the books they really don't go that far into it. It's not as detailed as this one does.
Again, like, we have the ghost who's been dead for 50 years flirting with him, but we can't show like Ginny saying a couple sentences to him. Okay.
Ginny just gets to say 2 words. That's it.
Harry's gonna end up with Moaning Myrtle in this the movie universe.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It's just really weird, some of the choices. And it's interesting how they always end the movies a little bit different than they do in the books, because the first one they had it where Harry's kind of, saying that he's not going home, not really, and that doesn't necessarily happen. And again, they're always off the platform, and they're always,
yeah, it's like at the
home.
train station is where the books end. Yeah.
Right. But this one they end it
right at,
yeah,
it's always at the feast.
Yeah, what is with the feast? I don't know. It seems to be the
feast.
They got to end it there. They go, you know what? We don't care about the rest.
Not give out the house cup this time.
No, they did not. I think, exams were canceled. No house cup, or they do in the book. They talk about it, but in the movie, they just could care less. I think it actually does stop being a thing in the movies. It isn't. I don't think it's awarded anymore. I think it was just the first year, and then after that, it happens, but it's not really.
Yeah, it's not a whole scene.
No, but I will say I did like how they ended this one with Hagrid getting a standing ovation from all of the kids. I think that just, I don't know, it just is a piece for him because he's a big crucial part of the book, and he's just there in the movies.
Also, I feel like they glaze over so much in both the book and the movie the fact that Hagrid literally was sent to Azkaban.
Yeah. Yep.
And then, but like, you're just like, oh, the wizarding. And then when you get to book 3 and you learn what Azkaban is, you're like, how does he come back? Like, and he's like, just
normal.
His normal self. I'm like, wasn't your soul being like sucked out by the Dementors? Like, you should come back a little bit more of a shell.
Yeah. And because of him being so happy, you think that they would also go after him more of let's make you miserable.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, we just glaze right over that.
Yeah. I think they don't even Ron, when they hear that they're sending him to Azkaban, he kind of just a little bit shocked of a face, but it's not as if he tells Harry, oh my God, that's a bad place or whatever, or,
and it's like crazy to me knowing what Azkaban is, the fact that Dumbledore just lets him be sent there.
Yeah. That whole scene too of when they're taking him away and Dumbledore's just randomly talking and Lucius kind of just looking back of, are you just talking to a wall right now? What are you doing? And it's just, there's so many things, but hint, hint, you need to go and help us here because if not, this is it. So I don't know. It's just
wild.
Very weird.
Yeah. Well, we made it through book 2.
We did. And I know 3 is not one of your top
it's still
ones.
Not my favorite.
It's my favorite, so it's really funny because I think that's going to be such a different energy that we're going to get. It's probably the only times that we've had complete different views on books. I know we've had a few over the years, but
yeah, it's not my favorite. I'm a book 4 girl.
Yeah.
Through and through.
Yeah.
Which is funny because book 4 is the most outlier of the whole series. I love it though.
It is very good. It is. There's so many pieces of it that are just so awesome. And
yeah, the book, the movie, like, it's my favorite all the way around.
I wish that one had 2 movies. That would have been phenomenal to expand on.
Yes, I need all the book 4 content,
all of it.
But it's fine. We'll do your favorite book, and then we'll move to my favorite book.
Exactly.
And then we'll just be in for the whirlwind.
Yeah. We're just there. The middle of the series we really, really are huge fans of in different books.
We're here for it.
And then we just go for it. We're there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have anything else before we were done with this, though?
No,
Yeah.
I don't.
Okay. So I guess we can jump into what we're going to be talking about next. And it's not going to be Harry Potter. We actually are taking a little bit of a break just because we started another series because it seems like that's our vibe. So we're actually going to be covering Guild by Raven Kennedy, which is the first in the Plated Prisoner series. So super excited to talk about that. Michaela is already done. I am halfway through. So it's very much as soon as I'm done, I think we're going to start chatting about it because I know you're waiting to really chat about it and get into it.
Yeah. Yeah. If you've read the series, it's like a dark adult romantasy. Definitely look up trigger warnings. There is some like more sensitive material in there. If you've read the series though, the first book is much more vibes. So I don't think we'll be going like super deep dive, but we will be talking spoilers for the book. So read it before you listen to the episode.
Yeah. And the nice thing is too, is this one will be kind of similar to how we've done with other books where it's going to be, we're reading it as we talk about it. So we don't know what's going to happen in the future book. So that'll be even nicer too, because we're just going to say things and they might be, random comments that actually come back.
They might be so off base.
So off. Yeah.
It's always fun when that happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to rotate between the two series. So we'll do this book, then we'll probably go 3 and 4 for Harry Potter. We'll go back to the Plated Prisoner. So we'll kind of be rotating back and forth, but it's fine. We got to
give some variety. Yeah. Exactly.
Yes. We can take some little breaks.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, for more things, booked for and just following us along on reading the two different series, follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Booktroverts Pod, as well as Fable Book Club. We're there talking about our books. But I guess stay tuned and see you next time. Bye, everyone.
See ya. Bye.